He's grabbed and he's going to be sacked.
Welcome, Broncos country. We're back at it. We're happy to have you guys here for episode 3 of the Empower Hour, Horsepower Hour. Not sponsored by Empower, but we would take that, right?
They want to sponsor us.
We would take that as a sponsor, no doubt about it. But we have a great show for you guys, as you can see by the lineup on the right-hand side. Of course, I'm joined by my good friends, Jeremy, Mark, Kodiak. I can't wait to do this. So everybody in the comments, smash that like. Let us know your thoughts on all these topics. We're going to have a hell of a time. And shall we just get right into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, bro. You got the Payton Manning jersey on for us. Kodiak's got the lettuce out today. Damn.
Yeah.
You guys are getting it going. I like it.
Head on, but I finally got a haircut for like the first time.
Your hair look fresh. Keep it, Nah, yeah. Let it shine, brother.
Dude,
let it shine. I am working on getting a cool hat though. So I just gotta wait like 3 months probably to get it because I think it's coming from China.
Oh,
you didn't want to pay $50?
Wow,
yeah.
we just started out with
a super. Fanatics raised the price on everything. You know, they're saying it's tariffs. I'm not sure if I believe them.
Yeah.
Wow. And wasting no time with a super chat. Thank you, Eli.
Yeah, thanks, Eli.
Yeah, Eli says, got to head home from work, so I won't chat much, but still listening. Have a great show, fellas. And thank you so much. Drive safely. And yeah, don't pull a Melvin Gordon. Drive safely. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Let's go ahead and get started. So we're starting quarter 1. We're starting with Giddy Up. I think this is everybody's favorite segment so far. Jeremy, take us away.
All right, the Giddy Up. Let's do it. I'm going to keep it to 3 questions. We're going to try to keep it actually to within an hour this time. Or Mission Impossible, but we're going to try. All right, question 1. This is one I was thinking about, and I'm going to frame this and let you guys, just because otherwise it's not like who's the best player, but like who's the spiritual leader is what I'm thinking. Like who's the person that times are down, you got to make a stop. Who's everybody listening to or who's everybody looking to? PS2 will be the leader of the Denver Broncos defense. And we're going to go Mark, David, Alex.
Let's go.
Oh, I would say hold your horses on that one because I think it's hard for a corner to take that role over. I always think about that being like a defensive lineman or a linebacker. I'm hoping that it's probably going to be Dre Greenlaw or, somebody of that nature. And I always viewed PS2, man. He's the kind of leader. He was very similar to Vaughn, where he's not like a vocal type of leader, but he's like, let me just show you how to ball out and make plays. So that's kind of how I've always seen it. So I'll do I'll do a hold your horses on this one. But I'd like to know what y'all think, man.
Yeah, David?
Man, y'all are going to probably hate my answer. I'm going to go with hold your horses because the spiritual leader of this team is somebody who is just absolutely shit on week after week by this show, by all these channels, by everybody in the comments. And it's Cortland Sutton, baby. It is Cortland Sutton. He's the spiritual leader of our team. I thought it was
the defense, right?
But this is specifically for the defense.
Yeah, because he did say to get a stop.
Oh, shit. Well, to get a stop?
Yeah.
I'm going to change my opinion right now. I'm giddying up right now. It's definitely Pat Surtain. He's Defensive Player of the Year. He's the best cornerback. Well, he will be the best cornerback in franchise history when it's all said and done. And, he raises all levels. The boats rise under his supervision. So, sorry, I was thinking about the offense. It's late here. It's 10:04 p.m. I'm sorry about that, guys.
In Texas.
But, I'm in Texas. But am I sober?
Who knows? Who knows?
Guys will find out here shortly. But
stay tuned.
Dude, I'll go with giddy up. You don't always have to be, we're talking about spirituality. Monks, they can go their whole lifetime without, saying a peep. Pat Surtain doesn't need to be the biggest vocal leader. He just needs to exude aura, and that's what he does.
I like it. All right, Alex?
He does have the aura. That is
no doubt.
Patrick Surtain absolutely has the aura, but here's why I go giddy up on this one. Even though obviously he's not going to be the green dot guy, that's usually a linebacker, and obviously, as Mark alluded to, the guy who runs the defense and is the leader is usually on the D line or a linebacker. From what I've been able to see from Patrick Surtain, I think he's started to take that next step into being a leader. Every year since 2022, he has been a team captain for this team, and he's the one that kind of coordinates all the defense hanging out kind of stuff. From somebody who is actually able to interact with the Broncos quite a bit, with their dinners or whatever. Not going to say how, but he was usually the one who set that all up. And now he's doing a lot of national stuff. I know he was on DMVR a lot, and that's not uncommon for him to be on that show. But he was on Nightcapped with Unc and Ocho not too long ago. He's been just doing a bunch of other random NFL, podcasts or whatever, and they just want to ask him, how he took that next step into becoming the defensive player of the year. So the momentum is sky high for Patrick Surtain, and he's done all the right things on becoming the face of this franchise.
I like it. A little quick side question. Just give me one name. Who was the spiritual leader of the 2015 no-fly zone defense? Let's do the same order, Mark.
Oh, that's a great question because there was so many. But in my opinion, oddly enough, who was the spiritual leader? I mean, it was Aqib Talib, in my opinion, just because he's the kind of dude that he didn't give a shit if he got a penalty. If that meant setting a tone, he would do it because we were just that good to where it was fine. So I would say it was probably him. But now that I think about it, and I think very stupidly I'm not mentioning it, it was probably DeMarcus Ware more than anything. Yep. He was actually the spiritual leader. I think Aqib Talib was the opposite of a spiritual leader. He was the law enforcement type of dude, the
tone setter.
I think they call him goons in hockey, the dude that just go out to fight and start shit and get the momentum.
Dude, he was the capo, in the mafia, man.
Yeah. He was El Chapo for the mob, or for the cartels. But yeah, DeMarcus Ware even the way that he spoke was very spiritual So I feel like he actually defines the spirit animal in terms of a team. So I always say it was him.
Okay, David. I was just gonna ask for one name, just real quick. Go ahead.
D Ware, man.
D Ware. Okay, Alex.
Brandon Marshall, low key.
Wow.
He had the green dot that year.
Okay, I would have said Talib, but who was the person that held up the Lombardi Trophy the night before the AFC Championship game? That was DeMarcus Ware. Mm-hmm. So you're not wrong. All right, question two. So that's the question. Spiritual leader, it's hard because it's PS2 is obviously the best player, but you got Zach Allen, you got Dre Greenlaw now, you got Hufanga now, you got a litany of guys that could be it. But it's an interesting question. Mm-hmm. All right.
Good problem to have.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Question two. The Denver Broncos have the best running back room in the AFC West. And we're going to go opposite order. Alex, David, Mark.
I got to go hold your horses on this one just because I think, the question here is how do you weigh Genty as a prospect versus, the other running back rooms? Because to be completely honest, if you're just weighing Genty as a elite running back, but not a whole lot behind him, then the Raiders are pretty far down the pecking order. But either way, I don't think the Broncos are strong enough to beat out the Chargers in this regard. I do think Najee Harris was a better pickup for the Chargers than Dobbins was for us. And I do think that, obviously Omarion Hampton going round one shows how the NFL views him, just shows how he blends in with that Harbaugh football. So I got to go hold your horses on this one. I just think that Omarion and Najee are just that much better than all the other rooms. Now, if the question becomes, do the Broncos have a more complete room than the other two, then I'll say giddy up on that one. But for now, yeah, I think the Chargers is just better.
Okay. David?
I'm holding my horses on this one. And I might go as far to say I don't think we have a top 2 running back room right now in the division. I think we're right along there, hopefully above the Chiefs. But Kodiak said it best: Omarion Hampton, Najee Harris. Now you could argue J.K. Dobbins could be a better deal or value for his contract compared to Najee Harris. But hey, Najee Harris plays. He's on the field. He plays games, and don't forget about the guy who could be their third back, Raheem Rocket Sanders, another battering ram that Jim Harbaugh. I mean, he's going to run all those dudes into the ground. They're going to be a tough team to face again this year. And then when you look at the Raiders, I don't really know anybody that they got in the backfield outside of Ashton Genty, but that's all you need to say. For me to put them above where we're at in Denver right now is Ashton Genty, who, again, 6th overall pick, 5th overall pick, something like that, top 10
Sixth.
guy. The expectations are high, and rightly so.
All right, Mark.
Yeah, hold your horses. I'll take it a step further. You can make the argument we probably still have the worst room in the whole division for a lot of the reasons they talked about. And in addition to Genty, I think they got Raheem Mostert, if I remember correctly.
That's what Andy's saying.
Andy's saying it right
Yeah.
now.
Oh, he is? Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, so, I mean, he's someone that is very very productive when he's healthy. But, I mean, he's a good veteran to have in that room. And then, I mean, Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt is still a crazy good 1-2 punch. As much as I hate both those guys for a lot of reasons, they're both phenomenal. They also got Elijah Mitchell, and they drafted Brashard Smith. So that's a pretty damn good room that they got in Kansas City. I would love to be wrong about this, and I would love for this Broncos running back room to shine, but really there's so much. That's not enough clarity right now. So I would definitely say hold your horses for sure on that one.
Yeah, I agree. Quick side question on that one.
Yeah.
Give me a one-word answer on this one as well. Audric Estime will be running back 3 this season. Mark.
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Alex.
Yes.
Ooh, all right. Good stuff. All right, question 3. There's a lot of talk about a new Broncos stadium, a new place that it could be, which is not very far from the old stadium. It's in the Barnum Rail Yards, which is just on the other side of I-25.
Is that related to the circus?
I think it
Barnum
might.
and
I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it might have been. I remember my grandpa, he grew up literally right there off Calumet and 4th, I guess. There was like a house that used to be there for the longest time, and he grew up in that house, and it's like a stone's throw from there. So if this is true, which we don't know, but that's the rumor, because there's been talk about the airport down, the area. There's been talk about Lone Tree. There's been talking about the old stadium grounds, just putting a new stadium on the old grounds. Is this new location the best possible scenario for the Denver Broncos for the future for Denver? We're going to go David, Alex, Mark.
Absolutely. Like, realistically, I don't think the Walton Penner Group wants to buy the current stadium from the city of Denver. And if I'm in their shoes, I would just want to build new anyways, right? Sports should be downtown. That's how I feel. Sports should be downtown in every single city. So keep it close to downtown. That way all the businesses downtown can still benefit. What is the heartbeat of a city? It is their downtown. You move the Broncos out of that, it's something like Lone Tree. It's going devastating's probably like too big of a word, but it's a substantial loss for Denver, and it takes energy out of the city. Sports need to be downtown.
Yeah. I go giddy up on that too, and here's why. So if you were to build it in a place like Lone Tree or a place like DIA, there is a large part of the Denver area that gets shafted because of that. Like the North Denver fans, like the dudes coming from Brighton and Thornton, like if they were to come down to Lone Tree, that'd be an absolute mess. And as somebody who's like closer-ish to Lone Tree on C470, I cannot imagine 78,000 people taking that highway to get to a Bronco game. But Yeah, no, for all the reasons David said, like I'm not a huge fan of the whole area around the stadium. I think it's it's low key a dump right now, but especially on 9 game days. But yeah, sports should be downtown. Like the people that are coming in to either A, watch the Broncos, or B, watch the visiting or coming to support the visiting team, like they want the stadium downtown too. And I think all the other businesses do too, because you want something to do, you know, Friday, Saturday, and then game on Sunday. So yeah, I go giddy up on that one. And just because the Walton Penner Group, they did not, you know, you and I, all of us here did not spend $4.5 billion to acquire this new franchise. And what happens when you build a new stadium? You know, franchise value goes way up. That's how the Rams and the Raiders went from the seller of franchise value to like top 5. So yeah, I go giddy up on that one.
All right.
Yeah, I might not be the best person to talk about this because I'm one of those fans that really just doesn't like to go watch a game in person. I always just prefer to kick it at home and cuss at my TV and, you know, punch a wall or something usually instead of a person. But I will say that where they're wanting to put the stadium is probably the absolute worst possible location they could have chosen, in my opinion, because that part of town is an absolute shit show. Like, I don't know if anybody to go to church on Sundays, I take I-25 to 6th Avenue, and it is 100% of the time, even when the Broncos aren't playing, a huge mess. And it's just going to make that a lot worse. Now, obviously, there could be a lot of plans to fix the way that you can access the stadium and all that. So I would trust it. But I've always been somebody that kind of doesn't think that stadiums need to necessarily be downtown. But then again, like I said, because I'm not somebody that attends it a lot, I'm probably not the best person to ask. I can understand why there'd be a lot of intrigue, but I also love the idea of building a stadium out where there's a lot of room so you can build an entirely new, basically mini city around it, bars and you know, different, like basically an entire entertainment district, and make it kind of its own thing. So that was kind of my preferred you know, kind of way about going about it. I had my reservations about Lone Tree, but I do like the idea, like, because the reason they were talking about Lone Tree, I think, was because they wanted to still have like the mountains in the backdrop. Out by DIA, you wouldn't get that. So I do love that, you know, that's going to be a factor still, because I think showing the beauty of the state is extremely important. But yeah, that area it is very much crowded. But
how much have they bought? Like, how many acres? Do you guys know offhand?
So the reports that we had
big
on
enough
the news,
in general.
So the reports that I saw is it's the Denver Broncos like partners that are buying up the surrounding area, and the actual city is the one that owns the rail yards right now. So it hasn't been sold yet, but like people are kind of putting 2 and 2 together as far as like if the Broncos partners are all buying up all this land right around it. Why is that happening? So, and it's so close. I don't honestly think it's that much of I mean, if you think Mile High right now is a headache, like, I don't think this is any more of a headache. It's kind of the same. It's just like almost catty corner to where the current one is. You already have the light rail that obviously accesses that spot. You have Metro State right next to it. And like Mark said, it is not great. It's kind of a dump area, but if you buy up all that land and revitalize all that land and tear down all the old, like, you know, warehouses and stuff that they had there, then maybe you have something else, like the way Coors Field kind of invigorated Lodo. So yeah, I think it'll make the surrounding area really nice. It's just the access that I feel like I have a lot of reservations for. I mean, right off of 6th Avenue is just tough, but it's smart. So I guess, for what it's worth, I guess they were saying like a bunch of different LLCs were buying the land because they didn't want it to be like Walter Penner, because they knew they would get like shafted on the price. Yeah. So it's kind of like the smart business, but I don't know. I mean, I have no idea any more about it.
When I was living in Westminster, anytime I just had to drive south of Spear, I would like automatically be upset. So it sounds like that won't be changing.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's like it seems like it's going to be the same amount of headache as the old one. So not
apparently the Cronkies too. Apparently they bought Six Flags, or where like Elitch's is. So
yeah, so
they're probably thinking about building like a whole. Maybe the Avs can actually practice in a real facility instead of Family Sports Center.
Right. Now, if John Elway is the person that built at the time it was Invesco and then Sports Authority and now Empower. If he's the person that was the guy who built that stadium, is Bo Nix going to be the person that builds this next stadium? I hope so. All right. Well, that's it for me. That's it for Giddy Up. We kept it under 20 minutes.
That was great.
That was awesome.
Well done. Well done. All right, so on to Q2. This one we're gonna try something different until something really sticks, and I feel like I like it. But this is going to be called Mile High or Mile Lie, and it was you asked a good question, Jeremy, because it was basically right in the wheelhouse. So we're gonna start with you. So basically, what I'm doing is I'm taking a lot of like narratives that I see from local media, just almost like assumptions that a lot of local media people are saying, and I wanted to know if you guys think it's a mile high or mile lie. So number one is, the signing of J.K. Dobbins hurts Estime more than Jaleel or Bidet, because that seems like the narrative and the talk around town right now.
I'll say mile high for that. I think they're similar type of backs. I think they're the person that if it's third and short, you're not going to go to Jaleel. You're going to either go to Audric, but now probably Dobbins. So I'll say mile high for that.
So you think that you think Jaleel or Bidet have a better chance to making it than?
Oh, I would just say that it hurts Audric more than it hurts
him
the
more.
other.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay, cool. David.
Man, I'm glad we get to talk about this. Why it's in the thumbnail. I'm gonna go with mile lie on this one, and maybe it's like the opposite of Jaleel. I'm gonna continue to hope that this is a year where Audric Estime is improving. Before I'm just going to count him out, man. I feel like, let's say we're in a certain situation and we need a speedy back out there or a guy that can break a big play. Why aren't you just putting RJ Harvey out there every single time? Like, honestly, when are you going to feel good about putting Jaleel out there over RJ Harvey? I don't think very often, man. Audric, I think he's got the ability to I don't think he's a one-trick pony, because I think that he's got the ability to pass protect really well. Of course, he's got the body, the thighs for it, and he should be better this year and was good at times last year in short yardage situations. So there are a couple ways in which you can deploy him where you feel good about what he can provide. I just got to see the Jaleel improvement before I start buying it right now, going into year 3. That's how I feel about it.
Kodiaki.
Marky. So I'm going to go mile lie on this one. I heard 104.3 talking about this earlier today, and I don't know. I can't remember who it was. I don't know any of their names over there, but I think they were talking about like, oh, if you get proposed like a 6th-round pick for Audric Estime, do you take it? And I'm just like, people are acting like Audric Estime is Melvin Gordon, dude. Like, I'm sorry. Like, what has gone on to warrant like that level of hatred from the Broncos? I think Audric Estime still will get the benefit of the doubt from this staff, because they took him, during a time where we had basically no resources. And I assume that, all things else equal, like if Jaleel or Estime are literally 50-50 in the camp competition, they will go with their investment. They will go with Audric Estime. But yeah, David said it best. Like, I don't really know why in a situation where you want to use Jaleel, why would you not use RJ Harvey? Like, Jaleel, he's a speed back, but for some reason, like, his longest carry last year was like 20 yards. So I don't really know what he really offers to this team realistically that we can't get from other dudes. Yeah, I don't know. I go mile lie on that one, just because I think Audric Estime will have the inside track and the favoritism. Not based off what he showed last year, because I don't think the coaching staff is very happy with what he did last year. But yeah, I think, hey, it's a new year. Like, he's still 21 years old, I think, or 22. So yeah, I think, they'll give him a chance to show what he can do in year 2 before they, and I think they would prefer that over keeping Jaleel.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thank you guys for sure, because I was listening to that same bit, I think, on 104.3 The Fan earlier, and I wanted to fucking pull my hair out. Like, I did not understand it. It was actually driving me crazy, because I'm saying, like, I wanted to call in. So this is one of those times where I was like, man, I wish I could just get 45 seconds to argue with the people, because not that they were making good points, but it's like people act like there's so many like there's more question marks around like Jaleel McLaughlin. Like, oh, what can he be around Audric Estime? Like with Estime, sure, he hasn't proven as much as Jaleel has, but he certainly hasn't shown nearly. Like we know what we're gonna get with Jaleel McLaughlin. It makes no sense. So I don't understand it, and I always feel like when you got a back, I mean, Jaleel's not gonna help you much more in the passing game than Estime is going to. I don't know. I don't get it. I think you always go with the upside potential rather than, the guy that you know what he is, and he's a one-trick pony, and he's not all that special anyway. So it was driving me nuts. So thank you for bringing a little bit of sanity.
They're treating Jaleel McLaughlin like he's Philip Lindsay or something like that.
I know.
Is that a coincidence? I don't know if Philip Lindsay is one of these guys arguing for Jaleel, but it would make a ton of sense if he was.
Well, ironically, I mean, he's really close with Jaleel, and he talks about that all the time. But like, even he brings a lot of logic. He's like, dude, at the end of the day, Jaleel's still an undrafted kid. Audric is still super young, hasn't played a lot. He's a 5th-round pick. Yeah, and all of a sudden to say, like, would you trade him for a 6th-round pick? Like, who – to even think that they're going to get, like, a trade offer like that is kind of mind-blowing anyways. It's just really weird to me. So, and then if they think that we would get a 6th-round pick for Audric, but we wouldn't get any kind of a trade for Jaleel, it just kind of shows how the rest of the league feels. The rest of the league would rather go with the young, unknown guy with a lot of potential rather than someone that, is kind of we kind of know who he is. So, yeah, I agree with you all. All right, another one here, man. There's a whole bunch. There was a lot of praise for Devon Vele and how he's looked in the offseason program. A lot of people feel like he's just got the clear inside step to being wide receiver number 2 so far. Would you say that's a mile high, or is it a mile lie? And David, you look antsy, man. I'm gonna start with you, bro.
Dude, I'm gonna buy it. I'm drinking all the Devon Vele orange and blue Kool-Aid right now. When you take like a 40-year-old in the 7th round, this is what you want in year 2, is him to become like that starting fantastic wide receiver 2 that's on a bargain of a deal contract. I believe it. I want to shout out friend of our show, Zach Seegers. He said a while back, you know what? I'm actually interested to see the development in Devon Vele because I don't think he's touched his ceiling at all. And it seems like, based on all the reports, he was right about that. There was more development to Devon Vele than I have ever given him the benefit of the doubt to have this entire offseason. So he's got the physical ability. He's got the RAS score. He's got the dependability to be a really good starting wide receiver. So I'm going to believe this. I'm going to hope for it. Devon Vele, mile high, baby. I'm buying it.
Kodiak.
Man, I think David's not going to like what I have to say, but I'm going to go mile lie on this one. So the reason I'm going to bet on the field is I'm just going to bet that, Marvin Mims or Troy Franklin can take that next step in their game. Now, did Vele have a good year for us last year? Absolutely, especially for 7th-round pick standards. But ultimately, he did still kind of take a step back in the last part of the year. I think it was because he was, relegated to kind of that Lil Jordan Humphrey role. But, now that you have Pat Bryant in the mix, kind of, working in that role, being the scrappy blocker rack guy, maybe things could turn around for Vele. But yeah, honestly, if it turns out that Vele is our wide receiver 2 coming into this year, it either means 2 things. It either means that Vele is really, really good and much better than we thought, and the entire NFL had originally slept on him, or it means that Marvin Mims and Troy Franklin would not have progressed throughout the offseason like we had wanted them to as pure wide receivers. Obviously, Mims gets a pass for how good he is as a special teamer, but, Troy Franklin, like if he doesn't, I just want him to be the dude so badly. And yeah, that's just all I got to say. But if Vele is better than we somehow thought, and it's not an indictment on those 2, then it would be completely fine. But yeah, I'll just bet on the field here.
What about you, Jeremy?
I'm going to go off the board. I'm going to say kilometer high, not mile high, because it is a yes. It is a yes, but barely. Let me explain. So I think that when the season's done and we have the stats, I think he will be wide receiver 2. That being said, I expect Troy Franklin to make a jump. And from the early reports, that is A lot of people are very positive on that. We've heard that about Von Vele as well. Marvin Mims obviously took a good jump last season. I just think he's a little more gadgety than Vele. I think the fact that Vele is bigger, he's going to get more opportunities because that's the type of wide receiver that Sean likes. He's going to block more. I think he's going to be more of your possession type of guy. And then by the end of the season, I could really see Pat Bryant starting to make his push and being like, hello, wide receiver 2, I'm here. Because, man, even him just running routes on air, I know this is ridiculous, but, like, just watching the little bit of highlights from, like, OTAs, I'm like, oh, my gosh, this guy, I get excited.
He just dusted Casper, bro.
Seriously, dude, it's like I get Rod Smith vibes from him. I just, like, he just has this, I don't know, I can just tell he has this awareness, this field awareness of, like, where he is, body control for his size. I think he's going to be super legit. So if you're going to say wide receiver for the next 3 years, I would say no. But for this season, I do think Von Vele will end up wide receiver 2.
Yes. Mark, can I piggyback? I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, well, I was going to actually have a follow-up for you, and maybe this is what you're piggybacking on, because I've seen a lot of that Troy Franklin love on your channel. So I was surprised that you were drinking as much orange and blue. Now, I'm not saying you can't love them both, but go ahead.
Oh, man, Andy beat me to it. Dude, we haven't even
Of course.
A.T. Perry, man.
He don't need to practice, bro.
But this is just how I'm feeling this week. I'm gonna be honest. You know, I'm probably the biggest flip-flopper on this entire panel. But the thing with the Von Vele is that you said it best. Kodiak, he can play that little Jordan Humphrey role. That's great. Mark, you've done a video on how you believe his game can translate more to the outside. Okay. You know, he can block. I think he spent about 70 to 75% of his snaps last year in the slot. That is going to have to change for Vele, man, if he's going to be the wide receiver too. He's going to have to play more outside. Right now, I'm riding that orange and blue wave, feeling like he's going to be able to do it. I don't think that right now Troy Franklin and obviously Marvin Mims, until he shows that he can run like a downfield route tree, has the versatility to supplant something like that Vele can bring to the table.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you said. I think you make a good point in terms of, you know, I mean, him playing in the slot, like, I don't know. I kind of go back and forth with that too. And I think he's going to end up replacing little Jordan Humphrey right off the bat, as Kodiak said, because he's really good in the slot. I don't think you should necessarily take him out. I mean, can he play outside? I'm sure that he could. So I feel like wide receiver 2, from a standpoint of the amount of snaps, like snap percentage that he plays, easily without a doubt, he's gonna be wide receiver number 2. But I think if I was gonna bet on it, like who's gonna be starting as the opposite X wide receiver, opposite of Cortland Sutton, I think it is gonna be Pat Bryant, man. I've been huge on him for a long time now. I'm just so confident he's going to be very, very good. And I think he's very mature in his route tree, similar to how Devon Vele was when he came out as a 40-year-old from Utah, like you said. So, yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be my favorite camp battle to watch is how the wide receiver room switches out. But I think that it's only great for Broncos country as a whole, man, because all you're hearing is positives from everybody. You're hearing great things from Troy Franklin, hearing great things from Pat Bryant. Obviously, Devon Vele is killing it. So at the end of the day, we all win. So I love it. Good stuff, guys. I think y'all crushed that. And here's my last one.
Okay.
I've been hearing this a lot more. Maybe people are just trying to temper expectations, but we're going to start with you, Jeremy.
Okay.
Broncos fans should be worried about a sophomore slump for Bo Nix.
Absolutely not. I would not be worried. I'm the wrong person to ask if you're asking me to be objective.
Yeah.
But
be objective.
Yeah.
Objective? What?
Yeah, I have all the stock in Bo Nix, but I just don't see how he can't. Honestly, anybody knows anything about Bo Nix, he is a cautious, slow starter, and then once he feels comfortable, it is on. If you look at how he played at Oregon, his first year, came in, played very well, ran a ton, was very aggressive. They had a great year, but man, the second year in the same sort of offense with the same coach, 45 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. 2 of those interceptions were like fluky too. I mean, he could have literally went 45-1. And you have a better running game. You have the same offensive line. You're in the system for a second straight year with the same play caller, with the same quarterbacks coach. You have better weapons at the wide receiver, and you have a huge weapon at tight end. Like, if he has a sophomore slump, how? I don't understand it. I mean, unless you're saying like there's like an injury, knock on wood, but I just don't see how it's possible. Honestly, I don't. So yeah, mile high.
Kodiak.
That's what your question was.
All right, so I'm with Jeremy. I just don't see it happening because last year, Bo Nix was not what anybody thought he was as a prospect with all the reports that we heard. The reason I say that is because he was like panned as like some, short yardage, like uber accurate, like short intermediate passing game sort of dude, but had limited physical upside. When in reality, if you watch the games last year, he was an ultra toolsy athletic quarterback who often had to rely on that to, solve some of the shortcomings of the offense, like not having a run game, not having any sort of middle of the field passing game throughout the year or anything like that ever came to fruition. So yeah, ultimately with Bo Nix, like the infrastructure is just so much better than what we had last year. You think about the fact that now we're going to have a legit over the middle of the field weapon. You think about the fact that we did bring in RJ Harvey and J.K. Dobbins to supplant the fact that we had no viable rushing attack last year that was ever consistent. So yeah, once again, if he has a sophomore slump, I'm just like, what? Like something's got to be wrong there. And Andy makes a good point. The key to a sophomore slump for quarterbacks over the years is offensive line play. You look at Stroud this past year, abysmal offensive line, and the Broncos don't have that. They're returning all 5 starters from a unit that was the number 1 unit in pass blocking last year. So yeah, it's just not happening.
David, what you got pulled up for us?
All right. Yeah, sorry about that absolutely god-awful transition to this format. Sorry. Couldn't find the right slides. But anyways, you guys don't come here for the bells and whistles. You come here for the great takes. Bo Nix, look at his stats right there. Almost 3,800 yards, 29 passing touchdowns. Now, he did have like a bunch of rushing touchdowns and a touchdown catch. What do you have? 5 total TDs, something like that.
34, I think.
34? Okay. And one of the best rookie quarterback seasons ever. No doubt about it. So I guess it all depends on like what defines a slump. I could see Bo Nix, honestly, like having less total touchdowns than what he had this past year. Like, I don't think that's crazy because I'm hoping to God we got somebody that can run the ball in, from the red zone. So, like, I don't think it's totally crazy. Like, I would go with mile high when it comes to like his touchdown total. But I do think we will see a continued improvement with the quarterback rating, as well as with his some of the other efficiency stats. You talk about average yards per attempt was still very low at 6.7. You're going to see us throw downfield more. You're going to see Bo Nix throw downfield more. And the completion percentage, I would love to see it continue to go up from 66%. So all that to say, Bo Nix, 5,000 yards, baby. I don't know if I'll go that crazy on today's show, but could he throw for like over 4,200 yards? That's my hope.
Yeah, I would be shocked if there was any kind of a slump just like Andy had said, Andy's always coming through with the crazy good takes. The 2 biggest factors that ever lead to a quarterback, well, there's 3 of them that lead to them having a sophomore slump. One is that they just were never really all that good and that the NFL figured them out and they can't get over it. 2, the offensive line goes to shit. A lot of the times, quarterbacks that are drafted high are drafted onto bad teams that don't necessarily have like the best ecosystem and infrastructure around them, so their O-line goes to shit, or they have a lot of turnover from like offensive coordinator or coach. None of that happens. All we did for Bo is get him more weapons. He's going to be more comfortable. He's going to be better on third down. He's going to be better in the red zone. He's going to be better against pressure. I would be shocked if he has any kind of a sophomore slump, and maybe I cursed him, maybe not, but thanks guys for an awesome go enjoy halftime. This is my Broncos country Hoppy Pale Ale. Shout out to Breckenridge Brewery. They're not a sponsor or anything. That just happen to have it. But
First in power.
Cheers to all y'all.
Dude, cheers. Dude, why don't we get some Broncos collab with some weed stores, you know? You know what I'm saying? Or like maybe like a root beer vape.
Starbuds?
Yeah, something like that. It'd be like really
I know
cool.
the Starbuds owners. We could do it. We could do a root beer. The root beer vape one would be tough, but maybe we can like make our own vape brand, Horsepower Hour Vapes, and have root beer as the only flavor that we sell.
Do you think Nate Atkins would rep us?
No, Nate Atkins would definitely rep us, dude. He's kind of an asshole, but we could figure it out.
Of course. Well, great job, Mark. That was absolutely incredible. Now it is time for the third quarter. Hope you guys enjoyed the halftime entertainment. And if anybody is out there that wants to sponsor us, go ahead and do so. Let us know. So I'm here to talk about Kodiak's Kings. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask David, Mark, and Jeremy, three guys, or not three guys specifically, but about specific camp battles in the offseason. And I do want input from the other guys as well, albeit, try to keep it a little brief. But I'm going to give you all ample time specifically to call your shots with all these specific battles. I'm going to start with Mark because this one's going to be really fun. And I've heard you talk about it a lot. You talked about it not too long ago. So, all right.
Let's go.
Who's your king, Mark? Inside linebacker 2. Who's your king? Sternad, Sanders, Singleton, Lavelle Bailey. Go ahead.
Lavelle Bailey is my king, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's my king. And it's only because I love the story and nobody else is picking Lavelle Bailey. But I will say that even though I think he has a really low chance of ultimately being wide receiver number 2, I'm always a big fan of going with the unknown player that you have seen flashes and you've heard a lot of upside. They're hungry players. When they're playing next to a veteran like Dre Greenlaw. If Dre Greenlaw was not here, I would be like, no, give me the safe guy. But you might have some bumps and bruises. Dre Greenlaw can kind of make up for that. But Lavelle Bailey is my king.
Perfect. David, any thoughts?
Yeah. I'm sorry, what was the question?
So who do you think is going to win inside linebacker 2?
Oh, okay. Right now it's got to be Alex Singleton, man. Until I can see that Drew Sanders can read like play action and Bailey can perform good against somebody who's not like practice squad UFL level players, I'm going with Alex Singleton, even on half a leg, torn ACL, all of that. I still would not be surprised. I think, Mark, you brought this up on one of your videos lately about how we save, a bunch of cash if we cut his ass. Why not bring in Eric Hendricks, man? Starting linebacker for that, wasn't good this past year, but many vaunted, Dallas Cowboys and Minnesota Vikings defenses. He can replay action. CJ Mosley, he's got, an Al Wilson neck. That's okay. We could still use him. But right now, I'm going with Alex Singleton. Drew Sanders needs to prove that he can anticipate. People want to talk about the athleticism. That's great. Can you read a play? That's the most important thing.
Yeah, good thoughts, Jeremy.
Yeah, these three players are very interesting because it's like Drew Sanders is the athletic freak that if he somehow did put it all together mentally, like he would be the guy. Lavelle Bailey is the feel-good story and the underdog, and you got to love that. But I got to agree with David. It's Alex Singleton. Alex Singleton is the heart of this middle of this team, of this defense. He's playing on a freaking torn ACL. He's a guy that should have probably like athletically washed out of the league like after a couple of years, but he loves it so much. He's got the passion for it so much that I'm just never going to doubt that guy until like he hangs him up. I just think he always overachieves. When we signed him, I was like, oh, he's a, Philadelphia got rid of him for, he had a lot of tackles, but they got rid of him for a reason. We'll see how he is, whatever. And he just comes in and produces over and over and over. He's not the fastest. He's not the biggest. But, man, if you need somebody to – we were talking about the vocal leader and the spiritual leader. I think it might be Alex Singleton, honestly.
Ooh, that's a nice take.
Good thoughts.
I got to piggyback on this. Give some props to some people in the chat real quick, if that's okay, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Ken is a Raiders fan. He found us. And it's nice to see Alex Singleton, get some freaking respect from outside Broncos country who absolutely hate Alex Singleton.
Why would Jack Kenna not want Alex Singleton to be covering Brock Bowers this upcoming season? I would be saying the same shit. I'd be like, hell yeah, dude. Bring Alex Singleton and have his ass line up against Brock Bowers. That's what I would be doing. So, God. Yeah, thank you for joining. And even though you're a Raiders fan and I hate your profile pic, it's welcome and it's awesome to have you here, man. And if you have any Raiders podcast that you're on, put it down in the comments. I'd love to check it out and talk some crap. Maybe
right now you're ahead of Bolt Casa for being favorite rival fan of the show. Where has Bolt Casa been? I'm freaking out.
I've seen Bolt in a minute.
Man. I don't know.
I gotta say,
he's winning the offseason.
Hey Jack.
Yeah, he's still watching the scheduled release video.
He's waiting for those alternate unis to get dropped.
Yeah, but the Rockstar. It's his first time here. He found us through the algorithm on one of our streams. So welcome. Please subscribe to all of us. We try to give you at least decent content most of the time. So
not always sober content.
No.
Right, David?
Clearly. Yeah. And Jack, I'm just going to say, Jack, can you pick a better team? Come on, dude.
Come on. We're way better. I mean, we got Alex Singleton over here. So, yeah. And I'll say this. I really just think people don't like Alex Singleton because they don't like the way in which he tackles. That's all it is. It's like a stylistic thing. He pulls guys down. He doesn't blow them up. That's all it is, man. But anyways, enough of that sidetracking. Just had to give love to the chat. What's up, Rodney?
Yeah, absolutely. So well done. I love that segment. But now I'm here to ask Jeremy. All right, call your shot.
Okay.
So behind Adam Troutman and Evan Ingram, Lucas Kroll or Caleb Lohner?
Oh man. For this season, I'll grow Kroll. I mean, if we're buying long stock, I'm going Lohner, but Kroll, Kroll's further ahead. Lohner had 54 snaps. I just can't. As much as I want to get excited, I just can't get there right now. But Kroll, had a lot of buzz last year about this time, and then it did not pan out. But I think he can do. Give him a year to get his bearings. I think he'll be all right. But Lohner, man, apparently he made some play at the end of the last play of the OTA, and people were like, whoa, all right. So I'm not sleeping on either one of them, but yeah, I actually do think Atkins is probably the best option behind as far as playmaker, as far as our tight ends go for tight end 2, honestly. He just made plays last year. It must've been that root beer vape, but yeah, out of those two, Kroll and Lohner, I'll go Kroll.
Mark, any thoughts?
I mean, I'm taking Lohner 100% of the time because I feel like Lohner, I don't care how many games he's played. 19 receptions is what Kroll had last year. You're not really putting a very high bar. I'd rather go with someone that maybe gives a little bit more expectation. I totally get what Jeremy's saying in terms of long play versus next year. But again, give me the unknown guy with upside, and I'd rather figure it out than kind of somebody that I know what they're gonna do and it's not very productive. So
yeah, good thoughts, David.
David's had a Lohner boner for a long time.
Dude, this is not personal to Lucas Kroll, man, but I spent a lot of energy on that man last offseason around this time.
We all did, brother.
He scorned.
Yeah, he did not come through. And here's the thing, man. He's going to lose his roster spot to a guy who has caught 4 balls in his entire football career, and that is Caleb Lohner, 6'7" beast. As Marky said, just learned to put on football pants last year. All right, I don't care that he barely knows how to play football. Teach this man this year to run a fade, a hitch, and a drag route, and I swear to God, he can put up more yardage than Lucas Kroll has put up in his entire career in his rookie season. That's exactly what's going to happen. Caleb Lohner, give me the upside. He's a great worker, a hard worker, basketball background. He's our next Julius Thomas, Shannon Sharp, Antonio Gates, Tony Gonzalez, all in one. Caleb Loner.
Wow, that was awesome. So now you get to follow that up, David, with my last camp battle. All right, ready for this? I know you're going to love this one. All right.
I'm thinking.
All right. Okay, I can barely keep a straight face. Nick Gargiulo, Alex Forsythe, or Clay Webb?
Yes.
I saved this one for you.
I'm going with Clay Spray every single time. And I'm sorry I got to keep on it. But you know, like, just how much of a man you got to feel to do what that man did. Like, you know just how much of a badass you got to be to just spray it inside a Powerade bottle. Like,
Horsepower Hour, sponsored by Powerade. We got Powerade, we got Starbuds, we got root beer vape.
and I know this was years ago. He's matured past it. I have not. I think it's amazing. He's got aura. He's got swagger. He's got violence to him. Do you remember seeing Alex Forsythe pancaked on his booty when Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton were leading that game-winning drive down there in Arrowhead, and I about died and smoked a whole pack of Newports because Alex Forsythe can't block? He got pancaked, man, on that field goal. It was ridiculous. Nick Gargiulo, great mustache there for the vibes. He can be okay on the practice squad for another year, man. Clay Webb will be your backup center week 1 for your Denver Broncos. I'm sorry, Alex Forsythe. Thank you for giving your 2 cents about drafting Bo Nix to Sean Payton, man. That's about all we needed you here for. We got Clay Webb, baby.
Yeah. Jeremy, any thoughts?
Yeah, I'll agree. That was a long round way to get to it, but like that, I'll agree. Like I'm not gonna speak about his off the field antics, but like his on the field antics, dude's legit, and we're lucky that we got him the way we got him. Honestly, he should have been a 3rd round pick, and I think that that sometimes things happen for a reason, and I think he's in a great spot here, and he's with a team that believes in him. I think he's going to be really good. Yeah, I would just for strictly football reasons, I would pick Clay Webb.
Marky?
Yeah, bro. Clay for sure. I wish this was Powerade. I would drink it for Clay. No doubt about it. I think he's the man.
Dude, yes. Clay Webb.
But I will say, and I wish I could, I can't share my screen right now, but y'all got to see Nick Gargiulo's combine picture.
Okay, I'm looking it up right now.
It is easily the best, like the greatest photo. It makes you just want to be like, dude, I don't care if he's terrible, just start the man. It is phenomenal.
That looked like a serial killer that we looked at
when he has the long hair. Do you see that one with the long hair?
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, who all-time combine pictures you got for Boney, Gargiulo, or our franchise punter creation.
Wait, combine photo? Nick Gargiulo combine photo?
No, just it's on NFL Draft Buzz. I assume they use the same photo, but
yeah, I looked it up. Either way, thank you all. That was an absolutely amazing quarter. So, yeah.
Oh, this one? Here we go again. The live production. Yeah, we need a producer, guys.
Yeah, no shit.
If y'all are interested. Let me see.
Jeremy's like, I already do that shit enough. I'm good.
Yeah. No, he's.
Yeah, look at that one.
Oh, yeah, I remember this one.
On the left with the long hair.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that is. I mean, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Like, that is unbelievable. That is a man that is out to, like, punish D linemen and then smash your stepmom when he's done.
Now let's compare with Clay Webb instead. What?
It just seemed like the right thing. I don't know. That's the vibes I got.
I got, like, WWE vibes. Like, Undertaker.
Yeah, he looks like a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just a straight gangster. Yorktown Heights, New York.
Like Jake the Snake, the wrestler, like that kind of vibes.
But then look at this lumberjack. You know?
I know. Look at that.
Yeah, that's a unit.
I mean, look at those legs.
Oof.
Yeah.
It's getting a little hot in here, guys. I don't know.
Take it easy. Anybody else?
Anybody else sweating?
Maybe just a little bit. Okay, I guess it's my turn. Let me find our right format. There we go. All right, guys. Sorry I don't have a creative name for this. It is called Story Time, and we're going to share some stories, Broncos country. We'll go a little bit past our 11 o'clock, maybe go into overtime a little bit. But, I'm just asking one question, and that is for you to share a unique Denver Broncos memory for you as a fan, man. And this is the one rule. Don't say the Super Bowl wins. That is said on every freaking podcast out there. Doesn't count. Unique, random, something that, you might have been the only one to feel the way that you felt in that moment. All right? So, does anybody want to go first? Does anybody have a memory? Kodiak, start us off, and then we'll work our way around the horn.
I think mine is easily going to be the most hilarious. So in 2022, when the offense, you know what? I don't care. I don't work at the place anymore, so I'm going to let it all spill out. So when the offense was having a really, really bad year, but our defense was absolutely on fire, and like the Russ Hackett first year, what had happened was, so at the restaurant I worked at, it was the game, the day they played the Titans, and the final score was like 10-7 or something, and we ended up losing. What happened is we stayed open late for the defense to come in and eat in like their private room or whatever. So what had happened was they all came in and they were watching the end of Sunday Night Football. And then after Sunday Night Football ended or whatever, it cut away to like local news. I think it was like 9 News, and 9 News was just shitting all over how they played that day. And the defense was like watching all of it just unfold. And like they showed a Russell Wilson press conference on the TV. And like, oh my God, I could have literally, I could not feel anger more than I've ever felt in that moment. Like, I remember there were dudes like literally yelling, like, look at this stupid, like expletive. Look at this, whatever. You think with all that money he could afford a haircut? Like after, after all that. So, yeah, that was a unique moment for me, and I've been very fortunate to come across them, and I got stories not quite like that about them coming in, but another one I'll share is that the day we cut Corliss Waitman, we cut, I forget who, Sam Martin for Corliss Waitman. The inside linebackers were in a room as well, and I was kind of eavesdropping because I wanted to get all the juicy stuff. They were all just like, is Corliss even good? Then everybody else was like, fuck no, he's terrible. So yeah, that was once again, I don't work there anymore, so I don't really care who this falls on, but yeah.
That was beautiful.
Oh, I was hoping Kodiak would not go before me, man, because not only does he have the best stories, but his storytelling ability is ridiculous, dude. So
yeah, now you guys got to follow that out.
I know.
Jeremy
I'll go,
or
I'll
Mark.
go.
Yeah, okay. You're
All
good.
right. I'm the oldest one here. I will tell you, when I think I must have been like 6 or 7. And this was back before flat screens and big screens and all this stuff. We had like one TV, and it did not have a remote control. You had to use the knob. And I remember and the one TV was like in my parents' like room, kind of like up on like their shelf, whatever, on their dresser or whatever, and you'd have to go in there and sit on the bed to watch TV. Like, this was like way back, right? My dad put the TV on one of these little trolleys, brought it into the living room, and I was like, whoa, what's going on? And he's like, it's the AFC Championship. We got to watch it in here. Got to have it in in the living room. And I was just like, oh my God, this is the first time in my entire life I ever saw anything like this. And I was like, oh, what is this? Well, what ended up happening? The Cleveland Browns, The Drive, forever shaped me as a Broncos fan. I'm sitting in a living room watching TV for the very first time on this. It must have been like a 19-inch color TV with the knob, and we're going nuts. Elway's bringing us back from this unbelievable situation. It's one of my first memories of being a Bronco fan in a Bronco household, being raised that way. And a couple years later, for Christmas, this is my Christmas gift right here. The John Elway huddle full uni right there. That's Christmas morning. So that was the baptism of me as a Bronco fan.
I love it, man. I love it. I'm gonna do two. Well, there's so many stories.
You can do two.
Dude.
You can do two. It's okay.
I feel like there's a couple that I've mentioned in terms of one that made me love football, but there's two that come to mind right off the bat. And it's because somebody in the comments earlier talked about Al Wilson and the Al Wilson neck roll. It made me think about that right away. But it was like 2002, I want to say. Broncos were playing at home against the Raiders. It was the first time we ever wore like the new alternate orange jerseys at the time, which eventually became our home jerseys. And it was 4th and 1, I think. And it was snowing game.
Yes.
Raiders had Tyrone Wheatley in the backfield. He's like a 245-pound. He used to be a fullback.
I remember this.
And they give him the handoff, and he just goes to jump over the pile to get a first down. And Al Wilson just standing there, meets him in the middle of the air and sends his ass back. And I remember, I almost passed out. I screamed so loud. I was like probably 8 years old at the time. And that was like my second absolutely like falling even more in love with the game after the famous Ed McCaffrey block in the Super Bowl. But another one that comes to mind, just because the story is hilarious, I'm at my cousin's house years ago when Kyle Orton was our quarterback, Brandon Marshall was our receiver. And we're playing the Cowboys. And Brandon Marshall has this touchdown catch like in the final couple minutes where he mosses this dude, just straight jumps over him and takes it all the way to the crib. And it's memorable to me because I was at my cousin's house. All my family was there, like extended family. I literally just take my shirt off and start running around the house, spinning it. And my mom got so mad at me because she was like embarrassed, like, what the hell are you doing? Breaking stuff in the house, knocking things down. But that was always a really special memory for me too. I always loved Brandon Marshall for that. But that one was that play was crazy. If you guys remember, go back and look at it. Like he mosses this dude and then he juked like 6 guys to the end zone. It was pretty nuts.
I remember that.
So always nice beating the Cowboys. But we did lose that Raiders game for what it was worth. But man, he was
wasn't that on Monday night?
Yeah. Yeah, we lost to I think in overtime, and I think Sebastian Janikowski hit the field goal, if I remember, or something. Yeah, it wasn't pretty, but that was a hell of a play.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Yeah, that's one of those plays that's like etched in my memory as well, Mark, from around that time. I got a couple stories. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say real quick, just to go from a really old memory to a really new memory. Last year, if you guys remember, we were doing a pod about after the games. We were doing post pods, and I was in Mexico, and we were playing the first time in our throwback jerseys, and we're in Mexico. And we're asking them, hey, can you guys put this on the TV? Because we want to watch. I got my family from California in there. They're all Broncos fans. And then all of a sudden, all these Raider fans are in there too. And these are like the homie Raiders, like fans. Like who isn't like Raiders fans, except for Jack maybe. But like they're all talking crap. They're all like, yo, we're going to get whooped, all this stuff. We're in our throwbacks. Bo Nix is coming out. He's struggling a little bit. And what happens? PS2 takes it to the house. And it was just like the air got let out of their. They're like walking around, their cousin, all this stuff, and it was so beautiful to watch. And I was just, so then it's like halftime. We all go to the bar to grab our beers or whatever, and the Raider fans are like, "This is BS, man," and all this stuff, and it was just like all that talking. And now you guys get to watch, and when we end up just absolutely
destroying them.
Yep. In the throwbacks for the first night, it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Didn't we hurt their quarterback Minshew? Didn't we hurt him in both games?
Dude, he got pancaked on that.
He
didn't finish either game he played against us last year. We just absolutely like killed the poor guy.
Yeah.
And yeah, that play was so iconic, Jeremy. You know, the Broncos merchandise team put out a shirt with a photo of that pit assist. I think it's still on the team shop today. Yeah, you can go buy it.
And that game, if you remember, like the Raiders are going in, they're going to score. If they score a touchdown there, we're not down like 17-3 or something. Like,
yeah,
it was looking rough, and then it flips on that one play, and it was like lights out after that. So that was that's a beautiful memory, especially when like I look 99% of the time I'm watching it at home in the confines. Nobody's arguing with me. I'm the only one like losing my mind or I'm happy. But to be surrounded by people and to be in this like neutral place where everybody's talking trash and then that happened was just like, oh yeah, this is awesome.
Incredible. Well, before I get to my story, I want to highlight a few comments here. Dennis was old enough to remember the drive and the fumble, both against the Browns. And then T. Fishes, check this out. A tall, white, blonde-haired dude gave me a Shakespeare Rod Reel combo when I was like 6. My pop said it was John Elway, and they won the Super Bowl the next year. Been a fan ever since. What is a Shakespeare Rod?
Oh, I think that's just a really nice rod.
Like, maybe it's a fishing rod, bro.
It's a fishing rod. Yeah, it's a rod and reel. Well, like look at his picture.
Yeah, his name is
Took me a minute too.
Fishes.
That's right.
Duh.
You know what? You know what my favorite part about that PS2 pick 6 was though? Was Jonah Ellis. Well, Jonah Ellis, I think he's the one that even caused it. And then he literally grabs Minshew on the run back and slams him into the ground and then just stays on top of him.
Yes.
And I was like, welcome to the NFL, Rook. I love that.
They did at first, and then they picked it up.
Yeah, they were just like, the announcers were just like, they've got to pick this up.
Yeah.
He absolutely just grabbed him like right on his collarbone.
Oh, dude.
Sad as that. And that's when I was like, damn, Jonah Ellis is the real deal too, bro. This dude's a gangster.
Yeah.
That shit's crazy.
For about 15 seconds, I was like losing my mind about that penalty. And I was like, you got to be freaking kidding me. You better not. You better not. You better not. And they're like, never, there's no flag on that. And I'm like, thank God.
Awesome.
A couple more comments. Dennis, in light of the Al Wilson hit, of course, remembers the first one, the original Steve Atwater on Christian Okoye.
That was my first Broncos game at Mile High.
Man, that's
wow.
Fantastic. And then, okay. So I'll get into my couple stories. If you've been subscribed to my channel, you might have heard one or two of these. I'll end with the more entertaining one, but I will share my first Broncos game was for my 14th birthday. Dad, if you're watching, he took me all the way from Chicagoland, Illinois, out to Denver for Sunday night football game. I believe it was in 2006 against the San Diego Chargers and Phillip Rivers on Sunday Night Football. Darrent Williams, rest in peace, had a pick 6 there in the first half. It was awesome. It was an awesome game, awesome experience leading up to it. We like toured the stadium and like all that stuff like the day before. We blow a 17-point lead after halftime and lose that game, man. I didn't cry, but it was definitely the worst moment of my life as a 14-year-old. I even said, this is the worst birthday ever. Sounds like a normal 14-year-old, right?
Yeah, no shit, right?
So terrible.
Was that when Cutler was the quarterback, or was it still when it was Plummer?
It was like, I think, Jake Plummer's second to last game he played.
Oh, and then he ended up getting benched
because I think then they played on Thanksgiving like 4 days later, and then he was done after that. And, the Broncos teams were never the same, until Peyton Manning came around. But anyways, if you guys are just following this channel for the first time, this isn't my first time having a YouTube channel. When I was like 14, 15 years old, I uploaded videos from my camcorder up onto YouTube before it was acquired by Google under the name, I think it was Bronco Boy. And growing up in the Chicagoland area, this happened right after our dumbass coach, Josh McDaniels, trades away Jay Cutler, trying to get Matt Castle, but then we end up with Kyle Orton. So I was putting out these videos, like making the case for Kyle Orton being a freaking franchise quarterback. And, everybody's making fun of me on YouTube as like a 14-year-old kid. I made a bet with one of my friends that the Broncos would make the playoffs. And whoever lost the bet would have to shave their legs. That's right. Yeah. So going to gym class was going to be really awkward. And we started out 6-0. You remember the Cincinnati Bengals game, week 1. And that was insane. My dad and I were screaming, running our way around the house, freaking out. That was an ugly football game. It looked like an absolute disaster. But then Josh McDaniels started cheating. If you haven't heard DJ Williams talk about this, go look it up. It's fantastic. We start out 6-0. I'm feeling amazing. Then we start losing some games. All of a sudden, YouTube's no longer fun. I delete all my videos by the end of the year. And I ended up shaving my legs, which, absolutely sucks. So Josh McDaniels also, kind of ended up bullying me. I ended up getting made fun of way too much. And it hurt even more because growing up in Illinois, I'm surrounded by Bears fans, and they sure let me know how much of an idiot I was for being a Broncos fan.
Yeah, that's awesome. Talk about the most confusing season. 6-0, then you lose 4, then we won 2, and then we lost 4. We never just back-to-backed it. We were either really good or really shitty. Man.
And that was the year.
Shaving the legs is actually, that's a good bet though. That's a good bet. Like, it's embarrassing, but it's not over the top either. So I like that.
Yeah. I just remember changing for gym class. They're like, dude, what's up with your legs?
Yes, when you wear pants for a little bit, right?
Yeah. It was odd, but yeah, I'm like, dude, it takes a long time to grow back leg hair. Like, it was basically like that for like the.
Well, not if you're Middle Eastern like me, but in general, yeah.
Like, yeah,
Lions will grow shit, bro.
Yeah. No, Dennis was at that game as well, North End Zone. I forget where we were sitting at, to be honest, but we were there in the lower bowl somewhere. But yeah, it was like iconic, man. It was so fun. And I only went to one Broncos game during my 6 years living in Colorado, and that was like Teddy Bridgewater and the Broncos against the Ravens. After I wasted $200 to go to that game, I'm like, man, I am never. I'm
1-6 in my Broncos attendance career.
Oh wow!
We won one time,
dude.
Against the Packers Monday night, we absolutely demolished Aaron Rodgers. He had like 82 yards.
Oh, I remember that game.
That was it. First game I went to, Raiders beat us. What was it, 59-10 or something like that? What was that one? It was one of the. Dude. It was my birthday gift. Yeah. My birthday gift. And I looked at my brother who got me the tickets, and I said, "Hey man, I love you and thank you for thinking about me, but like, don't ever fucking do that again, ever."
I don't know if you guys.
This is terrible.
But my all-time record seeing the Broncos in person is 29-15.
All right.
Damn. Is it like a tracker?
Yeah, it's called Memento. You can like track all your teams. Like I got the Rockies, the Broncos, the Avs on there. So yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
Actually, I take it back. I'm 2-7.
Oh.
Just going through my head. Yeah. We won 2 games. One of them was the KJ Hamler winner. So Kodiak's always allowed to go to the games, but if you ever find out that like I'm somehow going, be terrified because we're probably gonna lose.
Are y'all on the season ticket wait list?
My dad and my grandpa have them, but like as we've gotten older, they don't really like going to games as much anymore. So I'm just like, give all the tickets to me.
Yeah, for real. Well, if we get this new stadium, I'd be as bold to say I think it will seat 100,000 people. That's what I'm talking about. So if you're on the list, I joined the list in like 2017.
You gotta move back first.
I know.
You
think
he'll fly in every
temporary? It's only temporary.
That's true.
You think we should have a dome or we should keep it an outdoor stadium?
Ask you. I was about to ask the same thing.
Think we should have a dome? Yes. I absolutely think that because then we could have more stuff going on in Denver, right? Could have World Cup maybe. You could have some other things. We could actually host like a Super Bowl, which would be like really cool. But I think the conditions have to be absolutely terrible for you to close that thing for a Broncos home game. That's my one caveat is that we don't close it very often unless we got like a noodle arm, goat, Bo Nix at the age of like 41 years old, then like
and you close that.
You're closing that thing, no doubt about it. But give us the option to do other things with it throughout the year. Like I think it is, and if you've had, God forbid we start to be a playoff cursed team, I don't think that's going to happen. But like the Buffalo Bills, I can't think of a more dumbass decision with how many important field goals have gone wide right or wide left or whatever. And now they're, $4 billion stadium that the residents of Buffalo are footing the tax bill for. They're just not even considering putting a roof over that thing.
It's so stupid. I'll never believe fans when they're like, football has to be played in the elements, like when it's snowing and it's cold. I love it. Like, do you though? Do you really love it? Dude, I'm miserable watching them from my house.
Right.
I'm like, dude, it's fine if you're inside and you're in a t-shirt and you're comfortable. I don't know, man. You know what I was thinking though? This would be, if you really want to go big balls, because we're the richest owners in the NFL. Just do it. Get a stadium where you can just control the weather 100% of the time. You can cause rain. You can make it snow. You can make it cold as shit. Like you're playing the Dolphins at home, -10 degrees. You're playing an older quarterback with not a strong arm, 60-degree winds. Like whatever you feel like is going to be in your advantage, dude, that would be awesome. It's like an ecosystem. You have no idea how the weather's going to be. You just figure it out. You're like, all right.
It's like the Truman Show, but for football.
Mm-hmm.
It's
like Sean Payton knows the conditions, but the play
did with the stadium noise, but like taking it to a whole new level, right?
With conditions, bro. Like in the first quarter, you'll get 70 and sunny, and then by the fourth, it's going to be like a hurricane. You don't know.
It's like choose your own adventure. Hey, we're up 3 touchdowns. Now it's going to be boring rain.
Or every time we're on offense, it's beautiful, and then when they're on offense, it's just an absolute nightmare.
What was that football game that came out in like the mid 2000s, and it was like
Blitz,
yeah, NFL Blitz.
Yes, Blitz, where you could like take steroids on the sideline and like send prostitutes over to the other sideline to like distract the players like during the games, like just.
Oh, that wasn't Blitz.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know.
That was GTA football, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was rated M. It was awesome.
Yeah, you used to be able to like block people through off the wall and shit.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
No.
Blitz was dope.
Blitz was.
Well, I remember the prostitutes.
No, that was a David special, I think.
Oh yeah, let me Blitz video game steroids. Like, do y'all? Let me pull this up, man.
It was probably like the
video
GTA
like
edition, bro.
anymore.
That'd be so funny.
Like,
GTF, Grand Theft Football.
Like, look at this, guys. You get the option here of choosing.
Was this a fever dream or was this an actual
I
video
think
game?
this is a fever dream.
No,
sure.
this was a real video game.
Oh, it was called Blitz the League.
Yeah, Blitz the League. Yeah,
This guy has a video that says using steroids to get every injury in Blitz.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Look at this.
Or else you die.
Look at this. You can, quarterback Kane, shattered tibia. You can either treat or you can juice, like for the chance of having an expedited recovery timetable.
I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure steroids don't fix a fractured tibia, but I don't know.
Dude, just give him steroids. It'll just
Sure.
heal you
That's
magically. But yeah, I mean, just like, look at this, man. Like, this is awesome. Oh, no. It won't pull up, but yeah, man. Blitz the League. Here's another one. Oh, you got a concussion? We'll give you steroids to heal it.
Yeah, that'll help.
Yeah, man. I need to play this game.
You
Like,
got to
look at
breathe
that.
on your brain.
They need to bring like the classics back though, for sure. Because like I would buy that in a second. It would just be like such a, memory of playing when we were younger.
Dude, I had this game on regular Nintendo when I was a kid called John Elway's Quarterback. And it was like this fringe small game. And he was signing autographs. So if you go down and buy the game, he will sign the game or the cartridge or the box or whatever you want him to sign. I'm wearing my what are those jackets? Like they're not velvet, like the satin jacket. I got a satin Broncos jacket on. I'm like in the first grade. I'm crushing life here. And I have John Elway signing my game. I get home. I'm going to play it. That was the worst football game ever. And it had like this little glitch where like you could call this one play and you would throw it to literally anywhere. And some guy would come and catch it and run for the touchdown no matter what, every single time.
So awesome.
But
they need to dude, EA Sports ruins everything. Because like NFL Street was so fun to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for all the
They were
old
all more
timers,
fun.
Tecmo Bowl was it back in the day.
Andy in the chat says we need the David Talks Broncos Blitz series. Dude,
Yeah.
for real though.
For
You're
real.
just sitting there freaking popping steroids
Dude,
and getting the hookers. And
Like,
then
this
Dennis
is-
says, sounds like a Dallas Cowboys inspired game. That's funny. They were all the Cowboys in the 90s.
well,
they were
dude,
all
look who
fucking
they put
coked
on the
out.
cover, dude. They put fucking Bill Romanowski on the cover.
Wow.
Wow.
No shit. Who's the other guy?
Yeah, who's the other guy? I don't even know.
Can't see it.
That's funny, bro.
It's like Lawrence
Yeah.
Taylor. So.
Yeah, Bliss the League, dude. Like,
Yeah, it's Lawrence Taylor.
and then is this like fucking Will Smith?
Looks like him. Yeah, dude.
Dude, yeah. What if the cops show up mid-game, man, and arrest your player? Like, what do you do?
I need to play this. What? This sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was
They're
the
like, it's halftime. Get in a fight or impregnate a cheerleader. Go.
exactly. You're like impregnate.
Yeah.
That's Raiders edition.
So, yeah. Well,
Dude, I'm telling you, man, they don't make video games how they used to. You know, like, yeah. If you guys are bored sometime, go look at like the old like Tony Hawk Pro Skater commercials.
oh, I remember.
Like those were like so unhinged. They would never fly like on today's television.
Yeah.
But they're
No,
just so
dude.
good, man.
Yeah, we need to bring that back, bro. We need to bring back all the shit that would offend people.
Because it was
Yeah.
Just
fun.
because they
Nobody
were
took it
fun.
seriously. Nobody was like actually thinking it's serious. People understood the difference between reality and fantasy.
In a video
but-
game.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
Now it's
dude.
crazy, bro. Now you play video games, you feel like you're actually murdering somebody. You like go to bed guilty.
right. Right.
I'm like, oh shit, I killed
Yes.
that dude. It looks
Somehow
fucking real.
you're not allowed to do certain things, but you're allowed to like murder like anybody and everybody. Like, okay.
Yeah, and it looks real. I'm like, damn,
Yeah, I know.
the hell?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna wrap this thing up. And I just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat, whether this is your first time watching or, you know, this is episode 3 of this collab. You know, thanks for sticking with us. Please subscribe to everybody's channels. Links in the description for that. Hopefully you guys linked everybody else as well. All right. Yeah, hopefully. Are you guys doing some more OT over on y'all's channels?
On Kodiak, yeah, Kodiak,
Yep.
you gonna put your channel in the chat.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
everybody
So
can
guys,
come.
yep.
Yeah, come on
Me
over.
and Mark are both going to be streaming overtime, so the fun doesn't have to stop here. You know, talk about your hookers, talk about your cocaine on the football field over at my channel. It's titled NFL After Dark, but I will leave a comment on David's channel if you guys want to check that out. And with that is meowing really loud, so I can let out. But I'm gonna drop a comment real quick.
Perfect.
And we
I
should-
will-
We'll go live as soon as Jeremy and Mark join that one as well.
Okay, perfect. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining. Really, really do appreciate it. This is going to be a lot of fun. Well, I'm going to be listening, until I go to bed. But this has been another edition of the Horsepower Hour. You won't want to miss this closing video. Give me 1 second. Go Broncos.
Go Broncos, baby.
God bless Bo Nix. That sacrifice is grabbed.